Good evening and welcome to the final day for the Women Supporting Women live series. So tonight's special guest is Kendra Dublin. And my name is Trizha, and my platform here on Typically Trizha is to help women discover their gifts, develop their confidence, and live purposeful lives. So I'm a confidence coach. And my goal is to help women who are in different stages of life to discover who they really are and to walk into their calling and to live their lives with purpose. So that is my main goal as a confidence coach. So if you would like to know more about me, check out the link in my bio. I would love to have a one-on-one chat with you, or just answer any questions that you may have. You can send anything to my, questions to my DM in my inbox, about any questions that I can answer for you to help clarify anything that you may be wondering about what a confidence coach is all about. So we're going to be waiting for Miss Kendra, and I'm super excited for our chat tonight. She is an amazing person, and she actually is available now. So I'm just going to wait for that request, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Hope y'all are having a good night. There we go. Pray we don't have any technical difficulties tonight. Oh my goodness. Hey. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm good.
Yeah, you cute. You cute right now.
I'm trying. I got, come at my best. Gotta come.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to like change my shirt or something. I need to be looking.
Yeah. Representing your thing. That's how you are. That's like every time I think of you, I think of you like that.
Yeah. Oh, yay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yes. Okay. Well, is it okay? Yeah, it's right 9:30 on the dot. So like, I'm not even gonna do any icebreaker because I feel like we're gonna get caught up in this conversation.
I'm cool with that. I said I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think we really need an icebreaker. All right, so I'm gonna introduce Kendra for those who may not know her. So Kendra is a millennial strategist. She is an author, a speaker, the owner of God's Perspective for Me LLC. She helps millennials release past wounds so they can turn their testimony into their ministry and answer God's call. Kendra has overcome alcoholism to trusting God fully to inspire others to do the same. So this is Miss Kendra.
Yes. I was getting life on my own bio, y'all.
Yes, I was like, wow, we gonna dive in. So I mean, so many questions I have for you, seriously. So God's perspective of me, where did that come from? Where did that idea come from?
It actually came from my first book. It's called God's Perspective for Me, Volume 1. And it came out of my alcoholism. Like it literally was like my journey of alcoholism into that point where I was seeing God clearly. Like I was delivered from alcoholism by that time. And it was like all of the words were like, this is God's perspective for me. Like he is showing me. He's showing me like my mission and where I'm supposed to go. Yeah. And he's giving me clarity. And it actually was not initially God's perspective for me. It was God's perspective from me. And my dad was like, you ain't nobody's prophet. And then when he said it was funny. And then I thought about it, I said, okay, how do I really want to position it? And I didn't know that it was going to be my business name.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, well, then I can do God's perspective for me because God's perspective for me is God's perspective for you. And so it allowed me to put it at that angle. And I said, okay, I'm actually cool with that so that people don't take it the wrong way, but they understand that what I am saying, I want to bring to you. and give life and give light to you. So that's where that came from.
Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Um, okay. So how did you get started with this whole journey of your business, writing the book, all of these things? Like, what was your starting point?
Um, it's crazy because I had always been a songwriter.
Really?
And as I was coming out of my addiction, I was giving myself like a day or two that I would go to the lake and I would just write and I would just like really perfect my gift. And, it came to a point where I was like asking God, I said, God, what would happen at some point? Like if I get into the studio with somebody, Yolanda Adams, Kurt Franklin, and I don't have any words, like, and
Yeah.
I'm there trying to, write a song for them and I have no words. And so when I went to a vacation to Jamaica, it was a cruise. And while I was on that cruise, I had written 3 songs and 8 poems. And so when God was flooding me and flooding my mind, I mean, it was an experience. That's all I can say. It was literally an experience with me and God, although it was all these people there on the boat with me in Jamaica and these different countries, but it was like an experience that I was having with God. And so after writing all of those poems and songs, I was like, oh, okay, so this is God telling me, why are you worried about if I'm gonna give you the gift or not, if you can't perform the gift or not.
Yeah.
And then he revealed to me, like, I am the God of all languages. What do you mean I can't give you the words in English, which is like the poorest of all of the all of the actual languages? So yes, I can give it to you at any given point. And so I thought that was kind of the end of that moment. I didn't know I was actually writing a book. And so 3 weeks later, I was sending, the poems out as encouragement. And my brother was like, so when is the book coming out? Hey, Chrissy. Hey, Clarice. My brother was like, when is the poem? When is your book coming out? And I was like, yes, I'm writing a book. I mean, I just accepted it in that moment. Okay, this is where God is leading me. Because by then I had written like 30 poems. When I say it was coming, I mean, it was just, God was flooding me. It was just, the gift was just in use. And so I was just listening. And so after that was the end of April that year. That was in, I would say, April. May was my brother asked me if I was, when was my book coming out? By the last week of June, first week of July, my book was finished. I was asking God like what to do because I was a manager in retail. So I wasn't like, I didn't know anybody who was like a publisher or whatever.
Right.
And so I asked him to send me the right people and he did. So one of the girls I used to go to school with, I was like, hey, can you read it? And she didn't get a chance to, but she was like, I know a publisher. I was like, yes, guy, yes. And he was literally just working. So by the time I got my publisher and I signed my contract with him and my book was out, it was less than 5 months and I didn't even know I was writing a book. So when I tell you God's perspective for me is a God movement and a God moment and a God thing, it was all God. All I had to do was like listen and just do. And so that's where that came from. And the tagline is to, inspire and motivate for you to live in your purpose and release your struggles, which is a precursor to my mission statement now. So that's literally how it all began.
Amazing. Wow. And so what year was that?
That was 2016.
Oh, look how stuff be flying by. Wow.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. And then you have a volume 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. So volume 2 came a year after. Actually, I was actually finished with volume 2 by the time I was publishing volume 1.
Okay.
But I wasn't fully. I know I needed to like scrap some of the poems and like keep writing. So it was about a year later when I actually published volume 2 of God's Perspective for Me, which is poems, reflective poems, and then questions that go along with them. And it takes you through like my struggle with alcoholism and like even your own struggle with God and submitting to his process, but it's all through poetry and those questions. So it came pretty quickly after the first one.
Wow, that is awesome. So like, what would you say, like, okay, during this time where you were with God and you were just writing these poems, would you say there was a certain posture that you had to have?
Yeah.
Because it's not, I mean, I know from my personal experiences, I always find myself in a certain type of way, like personally. So, yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was humility. Like I was just humble and I wasn't trying to control the narrative. I think we try to control the narrative too often, and so God can actually get His glory the way He wants to. And I was just humble, and I was humble because He had just delivered me from alcoholism, and so how could I not like just shut up and write?
I mean,
You know, like that's how I thought about it, and I knew as God was revealing to me, like my gift is my highest self of myself unto God.
yeah,
And so that from the Holy Spirit was you just need to listen to what I'm doing and saying, because all this time you were entrenched in drinking and partying and having sex and whatever else you wanted to do, and you control the narrative there. But right now, I need you to let me control the narrative so that I can catapult you to the place that I need you to be in. But I had to humble myself
mm,
fully unto God so that I could hear what He was saying. I wasn't putting my own input in these books. It was literally Him speaking and me doing the work around it, the physical work around it,
yeah,
to produce it. But humility is key.
yeah. I would absolutely agree with that. And yeah, and just submitting.
Right.
That's probably ties directly with humility anyway. That's huge. And then like you said that you like went on a trip and stuff like that. Sometimes it's like your environment, like where you're at and things like that. Jamaica is calming and things like that, it's like an island. And me personally, when I'm near water and I'm in nature, I like, I already feel a lot closer, to God anyway, because
Yeah.
like, this is all of his wonderful works all staring at me all day long. So it's
Yes.
like I tap in, so that's amazing. It's like all these things were like layered together perfectly.
Yeah.
So that's actually
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, that's why I say it was a God movement, because I mean, there was nothing planned about it. There was nothing that I could do other than just to, as I said, shut up and write, listen,
Yeah.
and submit myself to the process.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Wow. Amazing. Um, okay. So your deliverance from alcoholism, I mean, did you come to a time in your life where you were like, look, this is, what I need to get through. Like, I'm tired of this. Like, how did that happen for you? Because
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, I was like so over myself and
Yeah.
so tired of my reckless behavior.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean, there's so many stories. Like when I say so many stories, there's so many stories.
Yeah.
But I got to a place where I was tired of myself, and I was dating this guy that like I had fell in love with, and God was just like, no, like you need to like get yourself right. Like you're focused on him and what y'all got going on, but I need you to focus on me.
Mhm.
And so God was saying, I need you to do this solo, like not with somebody else. You're trying to help him with his relationship with God, but you're still an alcoholic. So what are you even talking about, girl? Like you need to get your life together.
Yeah.
So that's what God was saying to me. Like, this isn't right. Y'all need to cut ties. I mean, and I love that man, but we had to cut ties for me to, I would, because that's what the point when I was actually really seeing God um, in a different light. And
Yeah.
I think it's because I was just totally tired of myself and my own behavior, and I was just a mess. So I think that's kind of like where the turnaround truly happened, because I had multiple aha moments, but it wasn't until that particular moment when I was like, what? I can't be with him, but we love each other. Like things are going well, but we just weren't right for each other.
Yeah.
And so after that breakup, it was like months and months of like crying and trying to, because I'm trying to break this love that I have for him.
Yeah.
I'm trying to break an alcoholic addiction. I'm trying to break not having sex at all. And
Yeah.
so all these different things, it was like God was calling me to break all of those things in a short time frame.
Quick. Yeah.
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 And so it was a lot. And I call it the 28-year-old temper tantrum, because I was literally like fighting like this, literally fighting myself for months.
Yeah.
And God was like, so are you going to submit or what? Because you said you wanted to like go all in for me, but you're still trying to fight me for the number one position. So what are you going to do? And so I had to just finally say, all right, God,
Yep.
I got to submit, because I'll call him and I'm like, okay, so what's up? What's going on? And then it's already going. So we already know what's going down. If you answer your phone, it's going down. I'm coming to your house.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
and so it is what it is, you know? And so I just had to like fully break away from quite a few things. But the process definitely wasn't easy because there was multiple layers of these different strongholds that I had. But it all started with me and him really like just fully needing to break up because of where God was leading me.
Yeah. Oh, and that's so true. Like, wow, you said a whole lot. But you know, that, relationships, like, just me personally speaking, like understanding, the depths of some relationships, they got to kind of stay in certain categories,
Mhm. Right.
you can't involve, you can only have certain connections with certain people on different levels. There's that aspect. Then there's, how you said you got tired of yourself. There's been a chapter and a time in my life I'm just like, look, Trizha, this is not who you're supposed to be. Like,
Right.
and I love how you said you just got sick of yourself. Like, literally, like, I feel like everybody kind of has to hit that point where you just are like fed up with it. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like gonna be that much more difficult to come out of it if you're not tired of it. So
Yeah.
definitely can relate to you on that one. Like, totally, like, and for me, it was just battling, like, negativity and mindset challenges, things like that,
Hmm.
into pressures of my family, society, and things like that of who I'm supposed to be. And so that's where my whole thing came from, being who,
Hmm.
not being who everybody else tells you to be, and
Right.
fully understand who that is. And I'm still discovering it. At
Hmm.
the end of the day, I had to understand what I'm not. And that's what
Right.
I started with first. And then I
Hmm.
myself, to God fully and was like, look, I need you to just show me what it is. Because clearly I ain't got it together.
Right.
None of this is working out. Like, I done tried this, I done tried that, and you done put me down about 10 times. So, all right.
Right. And it's funny how we try to control it. Yeah. It's funny how we try to control it knowing like that it's not going to work. Like, and we keep seeing that it doesn't work at all, but we still keep trying to control it as if like we actually can orchestrate the way that God orchestrates, and we can't. Like, we really think we're God in that way. And it's like, you can't control your life and other things around it, especially when it's destructive things, but you can't control like all of these different things. You can't even control yourself, you know? So it's like, how much can you actually drink? How much sex can you actually have? How many parties can you actually go to before it's just like, get over yourself?
Yeah.
Literally, get over yourself.
It's just, I feel like, yeah, it's something you have to go through, So what did she say? Yeah, exactly. You got to understand that part. In order to fall in fully to who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's huge. There's a lot of good stuff there too. Okay. So I do feel like you are walking in your purpose and in your calling. I definitely get that from you. Would you agree?
Of course.
Yes. Just to make sure. Um, so like, how does that feel like for somebody who is not there yet, like who is looking for their purpose, who's looking for their calling? Like, what connected the dots for you? Like, what was that, like, this is what I'm supposed to do? What was it for you?
It was that book. It was when I wrote that book.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I saw a guy who, like, even after him delivering me from alcohol, like I knew God on a whole nother level. But this book was like not me. Like, it was me, but it wasn't me.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, God, like, is this what you're doing for me in my life? And producing that book was like the part where I knew that I was here to help other people. I didn't know exactly where that was going to go, but I knew that the book was supposed to heal other people, it was supposed to help other people. But that was a turning point for me where I knew exactly why I was put on this earth, and it was to help people in a way. I didn't know it was going to be in the way that I am now, but it was to help people in a way that they could actually release their struggles and their past wounds if they really wanted to. And I wanted to show other people that they can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I went through alcoholism, I went through an addiction. So I know if I got through this addiction,
Yeah.
and the recklessness of my life and what was happening, and being a preacher's kid, that's going to be freeing for somebody else to hear. And being unashamed about what I've been through. Like God knows I don't care about what you know, and I'll tell you. Like I'll tell you the whole story. Any given moment, even on this live, if you were to ask me certain things, I would answer you.
Yeah.
So it was the book, and it's freeing, and it's clarity, and it's peace, and it is just mission. And you just know when you wake up every single day, you know exactly what to do because God has shown you fully like where he wants you to go and what my goals are for the next 30, 40, 50 years. I'm already seeing that. But it's based off of me like submitting to the process, being okay with every season that I'm in so that I can maximize at all the times of my life and all the phases of my purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. So true. Okay. Yeah. So what did you do before you were a millennial strategist?
I was a manager in retail. So I was co-manager, store manager, Aldo, Bath and Body Works, Velo. So I was in management. I love people, as you can see. So it wasn't a hard condition for those. And even then, people would ask me questions about life. Like I've had women talk to me about them being like raped and being addicted to things and having just different issues, and just a simple conversation about clothes could lead me to helping them, just in a moment. So it was already there, but God was just like, okay, you have done all that you can do in the retail space. Like I need you to go somewhere else. But I love retail. I really, really loved it. Love the people, love the atmosphere, love clothes, of course. But yeah, that's what I was doing for years. That's the only industry I ever worked in when I was younger until I was it's been 3 years now since I quit retail and went fully into my business. So yeah.
Nice. Oh yeah, we can talk about that too. But hold on. Okay, I loved how you said while you were already in working these other jobs, people were already asking you to help with their situations.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, for somebody who's watching this, or who may be watching this, I can attest to that too. My background is healthcare. And I'm working in healthcare right now. I'm trying to tiptoe my way out. But it's hilarious because my coworkers, the patients that I work with, I don't know how we always get off topic, but we do. And it always boils down to, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing, like my life, like, like it always comes down to that. And it's amazing because your calling will leave clues. It will literally leave clues. Like I'm always in these conversations. Like I've been having these conversations for years. Like if I really go back and help people discover their gifts, like all these things so that they can really walk into their full identity. And
yeah,
just, if anything else, your calling will leave clues. So it'll add up later. And that is so true. It'll always kind of show it over and over and over again until you finally get it.
Yeah. Because even when I was in management, aside from that, like I always did the training and development. Like I always did the visuals, training, development, and selling.
Yeah.
That's literally training and development is coaching. Like that's all it is. I'm just doing it from a scriptural standpoint now.
Exactly.
I'm doing it from my coaching program, but yeah, everything that I'm doing now, the precursor of just being a leader in retail, having the training and development background, talking with people and them asking for advice when you talk with them and just being easy to talk to. People always say you're just easy to talk to.
Yeah.
But it's because I'm authentic and, life is what it is. I mean,
exactly.
What's the point of faking about whatever?
Right. Right.
So yeah, it'll always leave clues. So when most people say they don't know what they're going to do or what to do, they're really lying. They're just scared to face exactly what it is. They're scared to break free from some of their mental strongholds to actually walk in it. But if you're really, honest with yourself, or if you dig deep with somebody, they'll tell you exactly where they believe they should be.
They should be doing. That's
Right. Mm-hmm.
and those are the people that I need to be talking to.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about that. I'm like, why show up less? You know what I'm saying? And I say less because you're not walking in the fullness of who you could be. Why do that?
Mm-hmm.
Why do that? Why sell yourself short? And so, like you're saying, there's always a root cause of why that person is not, coming up. There's here when they can be here. There's always to that. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and exhausts what you do where you are. Just because I didn't know my purpose didn't mean I couldn't help somebody while I was putting an outfit for them. Like too often we think because we're not walking in the fullness of it that we can't exhaust whatever we have in the phase and the season that we're in. So being okay with those, smaller, what we may call I'm not there yet type of seasons, and just being able to say when something happens, oh, I can help. Okay, I can do that.
Yes.
I can do that, but we have to get out of our minds like what we can't do and be intentional about the opportunities that God gives us wherever we are.
Yes, absolutely right. Absolutely.
Yes, God definitely prepared me for walking in my purpose. Yes, he definitely did.
Yes. Yeah, no matter how small,
Mm-hmm.
thing. It all adds together, all the details.
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna shift gears. So what does confidence mean to you?
Faith. Like I just walk every single day the way I need to walk in God. I mean, it's literally I just took what was it, the Gallup VP test. And it talks about like what are your business strengths and all that kind of stuff. And confidence is in my top 4. Like I don't, because I have faith. Like I believe that whatever God says, I actually believe is going to happen, and I've seen some of it already. Before I even walk in it in real time, I've seen some of these things, and so my faith is, and my confidence, my faith is like literally on 100, and it means I'm going to do what God has called me to do every single day. Because if I'm faithful in the small things, He'll grant me with the big things, and I'll be ready for the big things because I was doing my thing with the small things. And I have the confidence every day to do it. And that took me to have that relationship with God, where I could actually submit to Him in His process. And now that I'm seeing how He operates fully, especially for me and what He has for me and how I'm a piece of the puzzle, I have to be able to show up for Him every single day because of what He's done for me. And I know that if where I'm at now is so small and minor, like compared to where I will be, man, I don't have anything to worry about. I mean, my parents always tell me, you ain't seen nothing yet. I mean, what people see you do now it doesn't even compare to what God has for you. And I'm just like, okay, let me operate in wherever I need to operate in. Right. But my confidence comes from my parents too. Like my dad, when I was growing up, he always told me, love God, love Jesus, love Kendra. And so he instilled that in me. My mom was always there for me. And so it wasn't hard to fall back into that confidence mode with a new mindset, a better mindset, a more wiser Kendra. But confidence is just every single day walking in that purpose and having the faith that God is going to show you what He needs to show you at any given time, and doing those small steps to get to the next step.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that belief, I can say like there's been times in my life where I've asked God to show me different things, but I really didn't believe that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, I had went through some different life-changing events that ate my faith, where the only thing I had was to lean on Him for everything.
Yeah.
Waking up, like getting myself out of bed, pushing through, staying positive. I mean, I had to lean on Him like no other. And going through that my faith was completely shaped. And now I know when I ask, oh, I'm going, and the answers come, and they come because I know that he's actually going to answer what I asked him for.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily what I want to hear, but he's going to give me the answer. And that
Mm-hmm.
have to get it really deep down inside. It's like an unwavering, no matter what,
Mm-hmm.
he is going to come through. And I think that's where a lot of people are, misled, because it's something, it's one thing to say it, but it has to be really deep inside. It's
Right.
thing. And you have to really, it's a process I think you have to go through in order to obtain that level of faith.
Right. Right. You got to believe it in your heart. And it's not until you believe it in your heart, and it shows up in your everyday life, that you can fully embrace it.
Yeah.
But God's going to do his part. So it's really up to us just submitting to the process
Yeah.
of what he has, so that we can actually gain faith.
Yeah.
If you don't submit, how are you going to gain faith? All you're doing is submitting to your own process, and you can only gain faith in yourself, which you're not going to get anywhere, especially if it's without God. So submit to God, then you can actually gain faith, read his words,
Mm.
and
Yep.
he'll be right there to give you more,
True. That's true. Yep. Okay, so I think we kind of touched on this question, but what is your advice for someone trying to develop their confidence?
Read the word.
Yeah.
Read the word. The first thing I'm gonna tell anybody is read God's word at least 4 times a week.
Yes.
At least. You can't do it any less than that. If you don't have confidence, there's also going to be some other mental holes that may have happened, that you may need to talk to a counselor about, or a coach about, or somebody that you need to break free from certain things. But reading that Bible, I mean, the words of God are sharp. They will penetrate the way they need to penetrate. And if believers would only read the Bible, we would be in such a better space. I mean, us as believers, we actually don't read the Bible. Maybe once every few months. I mean, on average, when we think about the average believer, they don't read the Bible even once a week. Like, pick it up, open it up, take notes, study.
Yes.
The average believer does not do that. Mm-hmm. You may find, out of all of the believers out there, maybe 10% that actually do that. That's no bueno. Like, that's not good. And so reading the Bible gives you confidence, because you see God in a different light. Like, you actually understand God for who he is. You see his principles. You see Jesus when you read the Gospels, and you understand, I don't have to stay where I'm at. When we see him healing people and then giving his powers to his disciples and all of that, if you don't gain confidence through that, I don't know what else is going to help you gain confidence. Reading God's word is essential. Beyond breaking strongholds, talking to somebody, those have to be put in together.
Yeah. It's pivotal. And I think for me, reading the Bible, I'm able to, like, if I'm dealing with something, or even when I'm praying, I'm able to reference the scriptures. Like, for me, that's huge. Like, being able to say, oh, okay, according to 1 Timothy 2:10, I love being able to be on point with that when I need it. So I can use it right then. So there's no other way to get it without reading. And then for me, I like to make flashcards and do different things, because that's just how I study when I studied in school. Like, I do the flashcards, I do the highlighters, and that's just my style. But you have your own style, and you can't do it if you don't start. So
right.
Some people may feel like, oh, it's boring or whatever. You have to. I used to think like that. I'm just gonna be honest. And what I'm reading, I didn't know that there was a concordance and a dictionary and all these things, but I learned that because I wanted to learn how to read it better. And by going after people who do read it and things like that, and looking at maybe some of the resources and things that they utilize during their study, cross-referencing and all of that. So, so you just have to, like you said, once you have the desire, I feel like, God can help you fill in the gaps along the way to help, achieve you in the way that you need to make you. So that's what made it, exciting for me. Like, I lay out all my little stuff, and I highlight, and I have my cards, and I have my different color pens. I mean,
Yeah, and that works for you because you're probably like crafty and artsy, and and we all have to understand, like, again, who we are, like,
That's
fully, not just the bad things, but the good things about ourselves, like all the different things that make us.
that's right.
Even developing your gifts. I mean, that was another thing I did: reading the Bible, developing my gifts, and being of service. Those are my three things that I tell everybody all the time. Like, if you're trying to break something, if you're trying to gain confidence,
Mm-hmm.
because you have low confidence, low esteem, you don't feel worthy, there are some things that happen in your life, you gotta put some work into it, and reading the Bible, like you were saying, how people find it boring, and you found it boring. I found it boring at some point,
Yeah,
but we found a lot of books boring in school, and we still read them because it was going to get us to a certain level, and we won't do that for God.
that's right.
Come on now.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, where do we get off talking about the Bible is boring, but we'll read a book for school? We'll spend $40,000 because we know the school is going to get us to where we need to go to, but
Oh,
then we won't give ourselves the time to spend with God,
yeah.
which is the ultimate, like, where you need to get to to
Yeah.
really break things. So we just
I,
gotta be into that word, and like you said, do the things that work for us. And my formula is reading the Bible, developing your gift, and being of service to those around you.
yeah. That's a good formula, really. It is. Um, yeah. You just gotta find your thing.
Hmm.
Gotta find your thing.
Hmm.
Um, okay. So leaving your job and working your business full time, how was that transition for you? Um, did you just up and just, do it, or was it a process for you? Um, how was that like for you?
Yeah, when I got back from vacation that year, which would have been 2017, that July, yeah, about July. And so, God, I didn't want to go to work, and I didn't understand why, because I like, again, I said, I love retail, I love my job, I love working the way I work, and I was just like, maybe this is just because I just came from vacation. So when you come back from vacation, you need a vacation for your vacation, right?
That's
And
right.
so I'm like, maybe that's what this is right now.
Mm-mm.
And then 2 weeks later, I had the same thought come to my mind late at night, as usual. And so I said, I need to leave retail. Like, God is telling me it's time for me to leave, and I need to get ready for what that looks like. So within, I believe about 6 months, I was out. But it was a process. It wasn't like he told me that, and I was like, well, I'm leaving tomorrow, and no.
Yeah.
I put my plan, together as to what I was going to do. And I said, well, God will do the rest, and I had to just believe that he would do that. And that goes back again to my faith and confidence in God enough to know I'll be fine with however this goes.
True.
And so, yeah, so I just, after that conversation with God, I was like, all right, I'm going to have to put my 2 weeks in sometime in the future. So I need to start, like, preparing for, what that looks like.
Right. Right. That is amazing. And I mean, yeah, the fact that you got that like go ahead, that like nod, that's amazing. And then like for me, I ain't got that go ahead yet. So I'm looking for
It's
like,
coming in the right season. Hmm.
okay. Gonna be, but I haven't gotten to, I do feel like, there is some prep work that he's putting me through right now. So I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. I'm gonna be patient.
Hmm.
Yeah.
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 I'm all about preparation. I am not. I do not like this whole philosophy of just do it. We're humans. We're not Nike. Like, we don't just do it.
No.
Like, we have to prepare. God prepares us.
Yeah.
Even when He tells us He wants us to do something, even when you real from a biblical standpoint, it's very rare that something is prophesied or whatever, and then the next day you're in it. No, it might be a year. It may be 10 years. It may be 15 years down the line.
Woo.
Either way, you got to be okay and content with what that looks like. But you don't just do. You
Yeah.
prepare.
Yeah.
You have that moment where you figure out exactly how God wants to lead you.
Yeah.
But you don't just get a word from God and you just say, okay, well, I'm gonna do something totally different, and not remember the practicality of your life. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just that's unwise.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, there's always gonna be that preparation stage. It's just exhausting where you are, like we said before, and doing whatever is necessary in each phase of your life, and being okay with every stage of development. And
Yeah.
just because somebody else is doing this or that or whatever, don't compare yourself to somebody else's season. Like, everybody has the seasons of of cultivating the soil, planting, of growing, of harvesting. And you have to be okay with wherever that is and what that looks like for yourself, and allow God to lead you in what that is. Because you don't want to leave your job prematurely. Then you got to come back out, go back in. I mean, it's just too much. Just do as God says.
Yeah, that's true. So every day I go to my job. I give it 110% because I'm like, Lord, let me be a good steward. Let me
Yes.
do this right. Because
Mm-hmm.
like you said, if I do the little small things right, then I will get and be prepared for the greater and the better. So
Yeah.
I've got mindset every day.
Yes.
As much as I don't want to get up, as much as, oh my goodness, I'm like, Lord, I know I'm supposed to be doing more than this. As much as I'm just like, really, I
Mm-hmm.
feel, I go in there with a, even though I got a mask on, I have a smile in my spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Really, and I really do believe that the patients do feel that. So anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I approach it. Oh my goodness, I'm just in the waiting season, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right. And that season is A-okay. Whoever's out there, if you're in the waiting season, we're all at the end of the day in the waiting season, because there's always another phase. There's always another season that's happening.
That's
So we just have to be okay with it. And
true.
it's great that you're obedient to the Holy Spirit. Yeah, that just came from discipline. I was very disciplined with being obedient and listening and hearing. And again, from those books and everything else that happened, reading and writing and, going to the lake, all those things were in development of me when God was speaking for me to actually move in the way he needed me to move.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any questions for me, Kendra?
you know, what was you asked me what was my moment of when I needed to kind of stop, and you kind of said you kind of had to have that moment as well. But what was the situation that surrounded you needing to move forward in being a confidence coach?
Yes. Ooh, okay. So that is a layered question. So, okay. I was totally that girl that was like, this is what I want for my life, and I'm gonna go get it by all means necessary. I do this, I'm gonna check this box. I literally had a checklist. Okay, I'm gonna check this, I'm gonna check this, I'm gonna check this, I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna be, the best of the best, I'm gonna work hard, I'm gonna bust my all those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, all of those things that I thought was the best way didn't work. It didn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't fulfilled. It did show me some parts of me, good and bad, about myself. So I gained something out of it, but I knew that this was not it. It was like my whole life I was preparing and waiting for this moment, going to college, like all these fabulous things, join a sorority. And it's like, this is not really, that's cool and all. You were showing your gifts a little bit, but this is not where you're supposed to be. And he kept
Yeah.
reminding me of that over and over. Like, even from, like, I was a CNA. Like, I would go to school during the day, and I would be a CNA during third shift. Like, even dealing with that, I always felt like, it was training ground, because CNA work is very hard. So, like, it was good training ground for me, but something still said, no, not this either. No,
Yeah.
you need to focus on something else. So I was always at work. I was always reading something. I was always studying something else, not even with my schoolwork, like about
Mm.
leadership and, all these things to try to, I feel like it was developing myself, to be more confident, to really, be a better speaker. All of these things I was going through. So all of that and it not working. And then I ended up having two children out of wedlock. So I had that going on.
Mhm.
And then God was still like, no, what are you doing? It was not where I was supposed to be. Getting totally identity crisis, forgetting who I am supposed to be, not walking in what I know God has already told me I'm supposed to be. Because
Yeah.
I have a very God has given me vision. Like I know I see exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But different situations occur where I felt I got off track. I lost that identity. I lost that faith. I was like, oh, well, this didn't happen. So how is that going to happen?
Yeah.
Situation. So fast forward, I ended up getting married. That happened in the last few years. And, so, God showed that to us, that, hey, this is what I want you to do. So we did that. And just working and going through, okay, being a mom, encompassing that. Again, still not fully walking in my identity. It kind of took over who I was, being a mom and going through all of these changes. It made me seek God more because I was still unfulfilled.
Yeah.
Seeking God more and more and more. In the last 90 days, this happened this year. Actually, last year I stepped out on faith, and I always wanted to start a YouTube channel. Did that. Okay, I was like, all right, God, we're in a pandemic. I got the time. Let me go ahead and just start it. All right, let's see what happens. So that YouTube channel developed and it changed, what's the word? It shaped into different forms over time. I started talking about one content, and then now my whole content is totally different. And it just happened organically. But in the last 90 days, though, because, again, my faith has been totally shifted. I really was like, look, I surrender. You take over, less of me and more of you. Hey, you just show me what to do, because I'm tired. I'm tired.
Right.
I know I could be more, but something is off. We need to get this together. So, last 90 days, I was in a master class. I don't even remember what this lady asked me. After that, it was a blur. But the question was so profound, Kendra, that I literally went to a whole different mentally. I was like, I don't know where I went, but the words were very clear to me. And it literally just said confidence coach. And I was like, and it was the Holy Spirit talking. But I was like, confidence coach? I remember questioning, I'm serious. I was like, what? What are you, what? My background is healthcare. This don't even make sense. And then as soon as I questioned that, it was instant download. All these different instances where I was already doing that came to my flooded my entire being. And I was like, ooh, God. I was like, okay, so this is what we're doing. And boom, I was like, okay, we're gonna do this thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And then all these different pieces started coming together, and all these different people just started coming around that made sense and helped and gave me insight and gave me guidance. And I would pray about it, and I would get confirmation and things like that of who to work with, who not to work with, all of these things. So long story short, it was a whole situation. But that's how it came together. And it just came from me ultimately surrendering and just being like, I can't control this. I've tried to. I tried to do the right thing, but clearly it was not what he wanted me to do. That's the bottom line.
Right.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen, amen, amen. That's all I can say.
That's how together, I can't type of stuff up. It's just,
Right. That's how God works. I mean, it's you just have to shift with God. I speak about that a lot. We have to just shift with God. Too often we want to shift within ourselves, and it's no, that's the wrong shift. We need to shift with God. So if you want to actually be happy, be whole, be clear, have faith, and all these different things, then just listen. Just shift with me.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Yep. And no more control. Nope.
Yep.
Everything I do, I'm like, okay, Lord, is this what you want me to do?
Right. Right.
So serious.
Mm-hmm.
Every little thing. So no my way. It don't work.
There's too much at stake. We don't have time to play around.
No.
It's annoying to see people playing around when they know they need to get it together. And so we just don't have time to play around when it comes to the mission and the ministry, because none of us are the fullness of it. We're all a piece of it. And if our piece does not fit with the other like it should, and that one, if the hand and the head don't work properly like it should, then we are all just a dysfunctional being. And we're not supposed to be that. Us as believers are not supposed to be that. Yeah. And so we need to be able to fit the other piece of the puzzle that somebody else has. Yes. And we need to do our part and allow God's mission and ministry and his fullness to reside in us in such a way that other people see it. They come to Christ. They live in Christ and in the fullness of him. And so now we actually have a continuous movement. But we have to give up that control. We have to shift with God. We have to allow him to do his thing for his glory. Like, we don't have time to waste and play around.
No. Because, I always say, I don't want to play around with him.
All
right. Look,
and it's too much to do.
I don't want no beef with him.
Right.
I'm good.
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. All right. Well, is there any other questions, you guys? We're almost at an hour. Wow.
Yep.
Have any questions?
I've seen a few people, in the chat, but no questions yet.
That's all right. Well, Kendra, thank you very much for joining me, agreeing to be a part of this.
Yeah.
I've been, following you for like the last year. I still don't even know how in the world I even, became to even follow you. I don't even know where that and the irony, I forgot the little caveat to this, y'all. She finds out that she lives like 20 minutes away.
Yes.
But, what are the odds of that? I was
yes.
Like, what? You live with
Yeah. Right. We literally live 20 minutes away from each other.
It's crazy.
And it's crazy. I mean, a lot of people who find me sometimes it's a Facebook ad, because every so often, I'll have an ad going. You might like something, and then I'll follow you, and then we just kind of start following each other.
Right.
And that may have happened. I don't know. But yeah, we're literally I ain't gonna say walking distance, but we driving distance.
Driving distance.
Yes, and I flaked out on her, y'all, because I'm going on a trip soon, and I was like, I'm not trying to get nobody's COVID before I go on this trip. Because if I get this COVID, I can't go on this trip. So I was like, I gotta man all of my movements. Not that I haven't already had it or whatever. I don't even care about getting it, in that regard. But I need to go on my trip.
To do that, I understand. I was like,
so we're gonna together.
We're gonna give you a pass, but we're gonna redo this.
Right.
That's all. Well, anyways, and then for you, Kendra, I want to also add that I remember when I first started and I first got on Instagram, I forget, it was in the last few months or so, at the beginning part of joining, you were post stuff, you would always comment, you would, the extra mile, people, you just don't find that everywhere. I think that speaks to your genuineness and your passion for people, period. And you've just been really consistent with that. And I really respect you for that, because, and then even talking to you, I was just like, wow, that's not something you find all the time, especially on social media. Let's just be honest about it. So I really appreciate that, you just never know. And this was before I've been, thinking about being a confidence coach. I was just posting, stuff about whatever. I didn't have any rhyme or reason. I was just posting. So, that means a lot. It really does. So I appreciate it very much.
Yeah. And I mean, and thank you for reciprocating. It's not just a one-sided thing. Sometimes you can be like, oh, well, she did this and she got this amount of followers, or she knows, that don't mean anything. It really doesn't. And we're all here to serve each other in whatever capacity that we have. And so I am just here to serve in whatever way I can. So, and I appreciate you, and I thank you for inviting me.
Yes, anytime.
Yes.
Okay. You're welcome, Chrissy. Thank
Oh, okay.
you.
Thank you for joining us. And
Yes.
I'll follow you now. Now that I've seen your name enough times, I can remember.
Right? Me too. All right, you guys. Thank y'all so much. I hope y'all have an amazing night. I do plan to do these, I think, in for the next couple months. I don't know. I'm just gonna see where God wants me to do with this. I don't know. But definitely in June, expect for another series. And we'll see who comes on and have these other discussions as well, y'all. So anyway,
Yeah.
you enjoyed it. It seems like you did. I hope you will benefit from something that we have discussed tonight, and I hope that it will help change a perspective or do something to change your life at the end of the day.
And add some confidence.
Yes, or at least get you questioning some things in your life. Um,
hmm
anyway, y'all have an amazing night, and y'all take care. Bye.
Bye.